yeah, so the answer that came from was, how come the different belief systems of religions, when they pray, they get answers to their prayer? But there's different gods, you see. And my answer would be, it depends on who or what they're praying, what the person's praying for, but that it shows that there's something else happening behind these belief systems, and what I'm calling the subconscious reality. It is quite obvious to me that the subconscious is wanting to be unveiled by the individual and by the species as a whole, as a collective. And the veils are not something that it has put up in place. It is something that the individuals, we have put there as a form of protection for our being able to exist. And the scary monster aspect of that which helps us place these veils across wanting to know about the vast aspects of the subconscious is that there's this handed down through the generations, through the families, through the information that's handed through the stories, through the mythology. And what occurs is, it's a bit like nature in the physical realm. When you're wandering around in a tribe and you go wandering off somewhere, you come across an animal you've never seen before. It attacks and eats one of your tribal members. There's grief, there's horror, there's all sorts of things. It's never happened before you. And nature is showing, in a sense, how dangerous it is and how careful you have to be. So incidences like that are they're basically stamped onto the psyche of the individual experiencing it. Could be, oh no, your mother or something got eaten by a lion, you managed to get away, she stepped in front, etc. Realised the danger. You carry that for the rest of your life, and you need an explanation for why it happened. And so you make one up because there's not one really available. The scientific explanation is that you didn't know. No one knew, no one had met, no one had known of the danger, they'd never experienced danger before. Bang, it happened. It's imprinted on your experience. There was a wild thing and it ate a loved one. So then we explore that principle a little further into why did tribes, other big strong tribes, come along and make rake and ruin of your little existence that you were having quite nicely, thank you very much. They came on their horses and they came with their blades and they slaughtered and raped and pillaged and enslaved. By now there may be a sense of being more used to the dangers in life on Earth, the experience on its surface, but in some ways there's never an answer to why that is being allowed to happen, which is an interesting concept in itself, because in order to prevent something from happening, you have to prevent it, you have to disallow it some way. So myths, legends are born in a sense. So where does this relate to the subconscious wanting us as individuals to connect and get to know it, because it has a purpose. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. It existed before the physical universe, or it exists because of the physical universe. It evolved. The subconscious evolved. So we'll take that one for the sake of science, and for the sake of, let's not go to a pre-beginning existence, because we don't know really. It's all speculation, but what we do know, we'll stick with that. And in this sense, subconscious exists. Subconscious evolved with this existence, with this experience. Subconscious is interested in what it's involved with. Okay, that aspect I was talking about, where within the center it knows itself, all the cluster around it, the distracting information is it's been through all that, it's come through that and come to a realization that it is within something so vast, and it wants to explore. That's part of it. So how's it going to explore out there in the cosmos when it's still confined to the planet here, on this planet? So part of that is to give it a chance to get out there. We human beings need to know it. If we don't, the chances are lessened that it will be able to do what it wants to do. It might fade away and die with humanity, or it might stay and remain and say humanity stuffs up and destroys the planet, and most of it dies, or it all dies. The human species, as it becomes extinct, the nature of evolution will create something else in which to continue that process of going out to discover and learn what is out there to learn, which is obviously out there to learn. So why try and why that's a big long process, you know. I mean, we've had the dinosaurs, so whatever consciousness within the subconsciousness of that experience of being a beast, being a dinosaur, a lizard, and then through sets of events that may seem to be likely being out of its particular influence, the ability to prevent happening, the dinosaurs became extinct and something else evolved from that. So our chances, we can increase our longevity in this environment as a species if we got our shit together, literally, get on the same page. And this is where I think prayer, getting back to the prayer thing, people pray. There's the magic thing, all of these new agey stuff, the religion, all of those belief systems and everything do have their grain of salt, if you like, or grain of truth, I should say, in them. Right, so what's happening is that the subconscious will play any part that you as an individual want to put onto it, transfer onto it, whatever part that is, it'll play, because it essentially wants you to contact with you as the individual, with it, but not with really the costume you're putting on it, but what it is behind that veil, behind that consciousness, behind that, in a sense, consciousness. What is this subconsciousness, this super consciousness, is another label we could call it. So in a sense, that's why prayer is answered a lot by different religions. The risk, of course, is that in answering the prayer, you're actually, the subconscious is actually solidifying the belief system, and making it concrete in a sense, because it is. But that's in the risk. There is enough information within these belief systems to show a path that can get through that, break through that. So by, like I say, it's a kind of a risk. As religious people will be able to verify for you, if you've not been that way yourself, and religious and spiritual and all the other types of within that belief, the totalitarian, the totalness of those beliefs altogether, are about, they will verify that in general that's part of their process of faith and walking the walk, etc., and praying and having prayers answered is very much like from the individual and the individual subjective and the outside objective thinking. Again, there's that coordination happening between what you're experiencing individually and what is coming back at you from what we see as the external world, and that in fact increases the beliefs, and that is wherein the kind of danger lies, because then we get lazy and we get to wanting people to tell us, and like going to church and hearing someone preaching or teaching, and it's all, oh yeah, and that's their job, and that's what you are there to be taught, and you learn pretty quickly not to question the teachings, or if you do question the teachings, most can keep you with most of the answers to those questions. Will convince you to, oh yes, that's right, and you'll stay within it. Very few people learn how to move through it and learn to be responsible for your own thoughts and decisions and how you work things out. Yeah, sure, listen to people, but not with both eyes closed. You know, take in the information, test the waters. For me, this is what it was, in a sense, my own walk, is that I, all along, right from the beginning of conversion, for want of a better understanding, the first prayer and the first prayer being answered was my introduction to the subconscious. And from there, it was dressed in this costume and that costume, through me listening to other people, through the particular medium of Christianity, which is the way I came into it. But for whatever circumstantial reasons, part of my own personal makeup, because it's the same pattern that even prior to that I was going through. I can look at my life and say, right from the word go, through the different experiences I had in my particular very dysfunctional external reality that was happening around me, I learned not to take it on so much as just, it's all information, it's leading somewhere. And then I get to this point where, you see, it's not, you don't meet the subconscious just through an experience. It's with you all the way through life, right from your moment you're conceived or born, start to be human, right till the time of death. Whether you as an individual recognise it, and if you recognise it, what kind of labels do you put onto it? Staying within the physical universe, if we're going to put labels on it, they need to address that physical universe. They need to be measurable. They need to be coherent. They need to be co-creative. They need to be in those initial times between individual and subconscious. There's this natural sort of me and it, because you've always been an individual, so it's always been me and whatever, and everybody can identify with that me and whatever is coming into that me situation. After a while, however long, it changes, and you start to see that the me and the whatever are really aspects of the same thing. In fact, the me is an animation within a form of where the subconscious is utilizing the form to experience, to gather data, to do things, to essentially assist the subconscious, but without that connection, the assistance is quite difficult to maintain. As per the separation aspects of society, the cultures, the politics, the religions, the education, the sciences, are all separate parts. And when people adapt to learning, if you need to, which a lot of us do, is that we may be individual, but we're within a society. What is the part we're doing, and how is it affecting that society? It's all part of what I'm saying about with subconscious connection, where it's going, what its purpose is, which is relating to this physical universe. Okay, so we can strip away a lot of myth then. Okay, people might say, but it's dangerous, you to strip away the myth to the point where you're not thinking about what's going to happen afterlife. That has a focus to a lot of people for a lot of various reasons, but in general it's because there's a dissatisfaction with this life, and the hope is projected on the next one. I'll get through this one, and the next one will be better. Well, that's all conjecture. Let's look at this one. This is the one, and let's not look at it as just getting through it. Okay, we've got a beginning, we're going to have an end as individuals. What is it about in the bigger picture? Okay, it's no longer about the wee tribes in their little areas. It's no longer about the tribes fighting for their part in it, although that is overlapping into this new potential, which is to sort our shit out, get on the same page. And that is going to take, in a sense, especially for the radicals, an enormous amount of effort and bravery to overcome the data that has been placed within us, which has created a sort of us and them mentality, an enemy, the beast. Whether it's the Muslims looking at the West, or the East looking at the West, or however it goes, and saying that's America's Satan and needs to be destroyed, and then America, on the other hand, is looking back. The West is looking to the East and going, no, that's the devil there, and it needs to be kept in constraint, to be constrained, because if it gets out of order, it's going to nuke us all and blow us all up. And we're the ones, American and that, who have the ability. We have the power, and it has been used, as we know, historically. But it's got to the point where the sensibilities are taken over, in the sense that is the subconscious saying, if this wrecks my potential to move, to use this portal into the physical world that it's born of, and to move out into the greater physical reality of the galaxy, etc. We're going to have to find a way of not dropping bombs, and of cleaning up the environment and doing all of these things.